This is the Toledo Zoo. In the spring of 1900, brothers Carl Hillebrand and Frank Hillebrand trapped and offered up a woodchuck to the superintendent of Walbridge Park, and thus, with a restless rodent, the Toledo Zoo was born. The zoo evolved as an extension of Walbridge Park following the Hillebrands' lively gift. By July of 1900, 3 small bears, a monkey, 2 alligators, and an assortment of winged animals had been donated to the zoo. By year's end, no less than 39 animals had been secured for the developing zoo. Throughout the years, the animals of the Toledo Zoo have drawn in crowds young and old. However, there is a rich history in the iconic pieces and buildings that are scattered across today's Toledo Zoo. The most historically significant buildings at the Toledo Zoo were built between 1923 and 1945 in the style of Spanish colonial revival, likely to reflect the sister city relationship to Toledo, Spain. The first building to be constructed under the Federal Emergency Relief Act was Reptilia. It was completed in the summer of 1934 and, at the time, was one of only 7 reptile houses in the world. The execution of the Reptilia was a formidable achievement under adverse circumstances. Within days after the Civil Works Administration was established to dispense the Federal Emergency Relief Act funds, a workforce of 11,000 previously unemployed went to work. Using salvaged building materials and working through the winter, these men completed the building in less than 9 months. The Works Progress Administration, or WPA, was activated in April of 1935, incorporating Civil Works Administration projects and purpose. That is how AVES, the second project in 6 of the Emergency Relief Program buildings, came to be completed by the WPA. This building, again, was constructed of reclaimed building material. Timbers came from Wabash Railroad and Goulet Lumber Company. The bricks from Milburn Wagon, and even the handmade chandeliers were made of salvaged scrap iron. The Aves was the first building to ever use Owens, Illinois glass block in its construction. WPA artists painted behind the numerous cages that covered the walls of the Aves. The building opened in May of 1937. The amphitheater and the Museum of Science came about around the same time. On July 16, 1936, the 90-piece Toledo Civic Symphony performed the first concert in the amphitheater. This concert celebrated the formal dedication of the 4 WPA buildings at the zoo. The shape of the amphitheater was derived from the Greek prototype auditorium, and there are striking Spanish elements in the walls and bell towers. Though the cornerstone for the project had been laid 4 years earlier, the Museum of Science was finally opened on a continuing basis on Memorial Day of 1938. In May of 1939, the final WPA building, Aquaria, was dedicated. On its dedication, the Museum of Science was 1 year old, and the WPA, in its completion of Aquaria, would be celebrating the completion of 30,000 projects in Ohio. The Aquaria itself represented the final milestone in the $2.5 million WPA improvement program at the zoo. The new building had 2 other distinctions as well. It was the only public aquarium in Ohio, as well as the largest freshwater aquarium in the United States. Though still built in the Spanish style, the Aquaria tends to be more Gothic in appearance than Moorish. The WPA not only constructed the remarkable structures that now house the menagerie of popular animals, but also hired artists to produce various 2- and 3-dimensional works. From timeless stone-built sculptures to realistic representations of the animals housed at the zoo has maintained and preserved the architecture over the years. It has also hired new and local artists and sculptors to contribute to the beauty and personality that the zoogoers experience.
name's Jeremy Link. I'm a co-owner of Graphite Design and Build. We're an art studio. We make large-scale sculptures. We came to work with the zoo through an old friend. He used to have an art studio downtown, and he works there now. He's in charge of graphics, I think. And he's a really great guy. And basically, the zoo really is, they got a new director, and they really are into including local artists now. So it's really because the zoo has changed, and they're really excited about having local people work with them. And they like us because we can pretty much make whatever they want. And so they don't have to have people in-house doing that. They can just, have a couple meetings with us, and then we give them exactly what they want. And we've exceeded their expectations a couple times with how realistic we can get with our sculpting. And so it's just a really mutual beneficial, is that a word? Mutually beneficial relationship. Pieces we made for them, the realistic crocodile that's outside the new crocodile exhibit, they wanted a crocodile sculpture that replicated the real thing so that people could actually go up and see how big it actually was instead of looking at it through glass. Because they tend to, real crocodiles tend to hide. They don't really want you to look at them. So he likes to be in the bottom of the pond or, in the foliage. So they wanted a crocodile that people could actually go up to and really actually interact with and see how big they can actually get. And he's actually the biggest saltwater crocodile in North America. So they were really proud of that. That's an accomplishment to have something like that in a zoo. So they wanted to show that off. And then we've done a couple little things here, and there's some design work for them. And our other main project for them was the Quetzalcoatl sculpture, which is 17-foot tall flying dinosaur. So that was another realistic sculpture. Now we have the interactive postcard that we're making, which is a nice photo op for visitors. So they're mostly, obviously they have animals for people to look at, but they want things that people can interact with, because you can't really go in and touch the real crocodile, or you can't really touch something that's not around on Earth anymore either, like the dinosaur, or pterosaur, I guess is the proper term. So 3 main projects, but we have a lot more projects in the works. So I think the key things that make our work stand out is our incredible attention to detail. We take great pride in what we do, so we want everything to be in the right place. And we also listen to our clients as much as we can when we're first meeting with them about the project. And we really want everything that they want to show through in the finished piece. So we take crazy amount of notes. And we also make notes of things that, like the little things that they say that we want to show through in the final piece. And I think that when we finish pieces, the clients notice that we've taken, great care to give them exactly what they wanted. And I think we go above and beyond too. I mean, the things we've made for them, I think tend to have more detail than what they're expecting, so. The favorite parts of our pieces, I think it was really fun to, we had the crocodile, we had this giant crocodile that obviously it's not animated, it's a static sculpture, but we really enjoyed making it look like it was about to do something, which is actually a pretty difficult thing to do with a crocodile, because they usually just lay there, they don't really move around a lot. So we tried to make certain muscles tense and the way he was sitting to look like he could either strike or run away. So we wanted it to have that look to it. It's just a dynamic feel. And same with the Quetzalcoatl, actually. We wanted, he's obviously just standing there, but we wanted him to look like he could take off at any moment. So he's kind of looking up, and he's looking down at you, but also looking up at the skylight, like maybe he'll, fly out the top of the building. So I think that was the most fun thing about those things. I'm trying to make a static sculpture look dynamic, but also Quetzalcoatl was also fun to try to figure out the anatomy of something that's not necessarily completely figured out. I mean, scientists have ideas, but they don't know for sure. So it was we kind of got to become scientists a little bit and figure out, compare it to animals that exist now and try to figure out where the muscle structures are and things like that. And that was really fun. We're both dinosaur nerds, so that was a dream job. It really was. There's the challenges right there. Obviously, a crocodile, we couldn't, go up and have a crocodile pose for us. So we had to go through a lot of pictures of saltwater crocodiles. So, piecing them all together and trying to find how the muscles would work, because you're not going to find a picture of the crocodile in the exact pose you want. And even if you do, you're not going to get every single angle. And figuring out coloring for the crocodile, I mean, it seems like every picture of a saltwater crocodile looks different. So those were the two main challenges for him, and the Quetzalcoatlus main challenges were just figuring out, pretty much how it was going to look, because they don't exist anymore. They haven't existed for a long time. So, and they don't even have. There's a lot of different thoughts on that animal as well. I mean, when you look through books on, Tyrannosaurus Rex, they pretty much have pegged down to what they think it looks like. The Quetzalcoatlus has a lot of differences. There's a lot of different scientists that think different things. So that was the biggest challenge, but that's what made it so fun too. So, oh, I'm extremely happy. They're my favorite pieces that we've made, because we've done a lot of different things, but making realistic sculptures of animals it's pretty fun, and trying to see if you can make something look completely real. I mean, seeing people's reactions to the crocodile is pretty great. I mean, people are actually thinking that it was a real one sitting there, so that's a pretty good feeling. So, yeah, extremely happy. I don't think, and that was the other thing about that. What sets us apart is when we hand a finished piece off to a client, we're completely happy with it. We're not taking shortcuts or anything like that. We work our butts off, and we put the extra time in if we need to. We stay late, we stay on the weekends to make exactly what, if we were the client, what we would want. So I think it shows through in our finished pieces. The importance of the pieces at the zoo, the public actually gets to, I guess, a couple different things. They can go up and touch them. They can actually compare how big they are to themselves. They can see every angle of the animal. The animal's sitting still for them. It's not hiding. Sometimes in zoos they have to give the animals cover. The animals have to eat. They have to, you can't just have them sit just for the people. So sometimes they're hiding. They don't always want to be out. Sometimes they're sleeping. I just think you put these animals in a pose where people are going to walk around them. They can actually see everything that makes that animal work. And with the Quetzalcoatlus, they can see something that's extinct, that's not around anymore. So I think you can tell people this animal was the size of a giraffe, and people are like, "Oh, that's cool." But when you actually have it standing in front of you, this thing with wings, that's the size of a giraffe. I think it's way more impressive, and that's something that, if I was a kid, I would remember for the rest of my life. So.
Hi, I'm Douglas D. Camphor, co-owner of Graphite Design and Build, sculptor, builder, designer, painter. And I guess I do it because I could be doing it for someone else, but we decided to do it for ourselves, and kind of fulfills that itch inside to create something. This is a sort of a postcard photo op we're doing for the Toledo Zoo. It's for the new penguin exhibit. It'll be out back behind the penguin exhibit, and basically kind of pays homage to the old Toledo postcards, the greetings from Toledo, Ohio. And each letter is going to be filled with a little scene from the Toledo Zoo, some of the WPA buildings from the olden days, and some of the most famous animals. And there are going to be a couple penguins out here on the rock. This is a little scene from South Africa. And basically people will get their photograph in front of this, and it will kind of look like a postcard. I'd imagine they print it out in a square and it'd be postcard ready. What is my favorite part of what we do? I guess it has to be the satisfaction of a job well done.